it's clear that the media has, and we all played our part in obscuring the message within Tupac's music because of all of the, craziness surrounding the East-West, drama surrounding his death, so that by the time that he was murdered, many people forgot what Tupac represented and forgot that there was a huge fork in the road that happened in hip hop. There was a time where we could turn on the radio. I remember when I was first turning up hip hop and my parents were like, turn that down. and then in that golden era when it was like Elvis was a hero the most and all that stuff, and my parents were like, wait, turn that up? They were like, really? You can say that in a song? My parents had not heard someone be so confident, and so that our sense of identity was enhanced by a lot of these rappers and their messages. And then there was that fork in the road, really, right around the time of a little bit before and then certainly after Tupac's death, where I found myself listening to hip hop songs and being like, that's not me. I don't identify with that, And, but Pac, was really clear, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that Pac was the child of activists, Pac's Pac is a child, just like hip hop. Pac is directly a child of the Black Power movement, and his fire was fueled by COINTELPRO because his parents and family suffered directly as a result of that. His mother was taken out of prison just a month before he was born. That's COINTELPRO. His father is Mutulu Shakur is still in prison. That's COINTELPRO. Assata Shakur, his aunt, is still in political asylum in Cuba right now. And when they poured that gasoline on the fire of Pac by putting him in prison, and you say, you're right about the support that we owed him, because when Tipper Gore came, and they came and took him from one prison to take him to another prison to blame him for the death of somebody who was listening to his music when they murdered somebody. And it's like, but nobody's taken, Francis Ford Coppola or Scorsese or Brian De Palma to, trial because and there's a lot of murders, I'm sure, where we're holding guns and imitating Scarface and all those other things as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? And so America itself had not truly, realized they had this fear surrounding our expression. And Pac was aware of that. But what's beautiful about Pac is that even when he spoke about being a thug and what he identified as thug life, the hate you give little infants, fucks everyone, it's so different from what resonates today as the idea of a thug. Pac was not a materialist. Pac was not running around talking about Ciroc and Maybachs and all this other stuff. Let's be real. I'm saying this because Pac was outspoken, and I'm inspired to be outspoken. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah. He was not about that. Pac was on the dead Pred side of the equation. Pac was, in the Young Communist Party. Pac was thinking politically, the outlaws and all this stuff. He was thinking politically and using his position in music, in the industry, in celebrity, politically, creatively, artistically. And in that sense, I would say that in many ways, Pac was like the American Rimbaud. That's how I see it, because Rimbaud, the French poet, I say Rimbaud because when we can, it's interesting for us to connect him to poetry in America and a lot of poets in America, of course, when we speak of like the Ginsbergs or the Sylvia Plaths or what have you, who wrote beautiful, often political, poignant poetry, oftentimes did that from somewhat like bourgeoisie sidelines. Pac was in the middle of it. In the middle of it, writing this stuff that was fiery and as irreverent as Rimbaud, who, in his time period was writing, like the merchant is a nigger, I'm a nigger, da, 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 and then moved to Ethiopia to sell guns and slaves, That's a lot like the sort of wildness that Pac was about. Like he was in the middle of it, but we obscured that message.